wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. Why we always looking for more? Why we always looking for more? Been trying to change what I've been trying to say. Words don't come straight from my head to my mouth. It's such a shame that it fell out of place. Was never me that was bringing you down. Why we always looking for more? Why we always looking for more? Why we always looking for more? I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. Why we always looking for more? Why we always looking for more? Why we always looking for more?
morning, good afternoon, wherever you're watching, or good evening, in fact, right around the world. Hello and welcome to round 3 of this Adrenaline AGT, Adrenaline GT ACC season number 2. And tonight, we're coming to you live from Silverstone for the Silverstone Clash here this evening. And it is round 3 of this brand new season. Season 2, like I mentioned, of this AGT ACC season. And we can't wait to get into the action tonight as I'm joined tonight by my co-commentator, Mr. AGT himself, Isaac Fogarty. Good evening to you, Isaac. We are back. We're not talking about last week. We're back for another week, and we're back for round 3 this evening.
Yes, good evening, Trev. Good evening, everybody watching at home. It's wonderful to be here. Very excited for the racing that's ahead of us this evening. 1 hour round the iconic Silverstone Circuit. Hopefully, the British weather stays away for us today, Trev, but I'm looking forward to a very action-packed race. Absolutely.
It's fantastic. Of course, back in round 1 a couple of weeks ago now, it was the Italian job. And same format as this evening, 15 minutes for qualifying tonight as well, a 60-minute race also this evening. And then it was round 2, the round that never was, Isaac, postponed, of course. That was supposed to be the sprint round, the Spanish Super Sprint from Barcelona. But we're hearing for all of our viewers at home, Isaac, that it has been postponed to later in the year.
Yes, it certainly has. We have got a new date, Friday the 4th of July, actually. So Independence Day for the Americans tuning in. We're going to be celebrating by rerunning our postponed round for the Spanish Super Sprint. And so that will slot in just between the Enduro that we run at Watkins Glen and the TrackSpotTV Challenge at Bathurst. So that will slot in between those 2 rounds. I'm very excited that we've been able to find a date because it would be a shame to miss out on that awesome racing. I was very much looking forward to getting some running around there.
Absolutely, looking forward to that one a bit later in the year. Let's have a look at the drivers' standings for the Pro Class overall. And, well, after all the excitement so far this season, Isaac, we've only had the 1 round of action. And if you want to take us through the drivers' standings so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So 1 round of racing, as we mentioned. Matt Dinetti leads the way in the Pro Championship and overall. James Machin sits in 2nd, and Simon Bishop, our reigning champion, 3rd, 20 points back. Not a huge gap, and there's still 9 more rounds of racing to come. Leading the way in Pro-Am is Nathan Lee, and he's on 78 points. So these points are based on their overall points. We have all of them in an overall table. And instead of doing just individual class points, we just run the overall points. So 78 points for Nathan Lee, Adam Gray in 2nd, and Shannon Stalley in 3rd. 12-point gap between the top 3 in Pro at the moment, so still very close. Same with our AM class, 12-point gap. We've got Ian Stewart leading the way for Kiwi Pit Lane, Clayton Twining for Victory Motorsport in 2nd, and Matt Boyd for Fogarty Motorsport Jr. in 3rd, also 12 points away. So very close numbers. Obviously, Trev, only 1 round so far in the season, but it's very exciting that we're still so close to start off with.
Absolutely. It's still very tight, isn't it, across all 3 classes. We're going to have a look at the teams now. And CP Motorsports getting off to a good start after round 1, didn't they, with Matt Dinetti and Aidan Holton behind the wheel of the CP Motorsports car.
Yeah, absolutely. They did an amazing job. Aidan Holton, his first time out at Misano in an AGT race, did a brilliant job to finish in 6th. And made sure that they got crucial teams points to lead the way from TTR Westside, who finished runners-up in the team championship last season. So they'll be really hoping they can go one better. A lot of teams had written them off as contenders this season, but they've come out swinging right out of the gate. And then BCG2, which is Simon Bishop, and it says Matt Dinetti, but it's actually Liam Tame, so that is a typo, and we apologise. That'll be fixed up prior to the next round, but that is Simon Bishop and Liam Tame in that car in the BCG2. Those are our reigning, if you believe it or not, those are our reigning champions for the teams championship, and they're 57 points back. So a bit of work to do, Trev, if they want to make up that gap to the leaders in our teams championship.
Absolutely, those constructors points, all the points, aren't they, very important. You don't want to be too far out, do you, early in the season. And round 3 tonight, of course, here from, I was about to say, a sunny Silverstone Circuit. That British weather, that famous British weather, can always play tricks on us, but we are here, of course, tonight for round 3, the Silverstone Clash, Friday the 23rd of May, 15-minute qualifying session coming your way, not too far away, in fact, followed by a 60-minute race here this evening. And Isaac, it's going to be absolutely fantastic, and it's looking, we're hearing that Matt Donetti, Simon Bishop, they're very, very close, and they're very fast again here around this circuit this week.
Yeah, that does not surprise me even in the slightest, Trev. I cannot say that I am shocked, but I wouldn't be surprised. I've heard a few new names floated around at the top of the leaderboard this week, so keep a very close eye on some people like Aiden Holton, Braden Henderson as well, even floating around. Cameron Fleming's looking to bounce back after a difficult round 1. So there's a couple drivers that are trying to sneak their names up into that that top 5, top 3 even contention for this race.
It's going to be absolutely terrific. You can see a beautiful view there of Silverstone, of course. And speaking of the track, we might take you for a hot lap or a ride around this circuit. We're going on the track walk. This circuit redesigned, of course, back in 2010. And it's an absolute beauty, isn't it, Isaac? Of course, Hamilton Straight, Abbey, Maggots, Beckett's Chapel, Hanger Straight. No matter where you look around this circuit, there's famous corners coming at you thick and fast.
There certainly is. 5.8 kilometre circuit. 18 corners, 8 to go to the left, 10 to the right. Only 11 metres of elevation change. Most of that is through Abbey, so it's a relatively flat circuit, but some very iconic names indeed. Obviously, you can see there on your screen. Abbey, Maggots, Beckett's, Cops as well. That's going to be our first corner tonight, so we use the old front straight start for the Assetto Corsa, so we don't actually use where the Formula 1 drivers come from. We use the old front straight. So Cops will be turn 1, and if the F1 or the Formula 1 racing is anything to go by, we're going to see some action when those GT3 cars go side by side through Cops to start our race. But yes, there's a lot of challenging corners around here, and I believe, Trev, we're not too far away from qualifying.
Tell you what, absolutely spot on. Timing impeccable there, Isaac. We are not too far away from qualifying. We're into qualifying. A 15-minute session to get us underway here this evening, followed by a 60-minute race as we see our drivers coming out onto the circuit for the first time. Very, very important to get your eye in early. It is only a 15-minute session, of course, Isaac. It's a longer lap around here, so very important to get a banker lap in early going in the session to save you that pressure later on as we tick down towards the end of qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely. This is really key times to get laps in. It's very easy to invalidate a lap around. It's very easy to invalidate a lap on ACC. So a lot of drivers will want to get a banker in early here. We've seen this across all the qualifying sessions we've had, not only this season, but last season as well. You can see the mad scramble. Look at your mini-map in the bottom right-hand corner for our viewers watching at home. You can see just how bunched up a lot of the drivers are coming through that second into the third sector now. That's through Aintree at the moment down the Wellington Straight. So they're all bunching up together. They'll want a bit of aero assistance to make sure they get a bit of a tow down the long straights of this circuit. But you don't want to get too much aero wash, because just like an F1 car or any car with aerodynamics really, it can cause a lot of understeer in the corner strap.
Track position, very important, like we said, in this particular qualifying session. This goes very, very quickly. We can see James Matchin on our screens in front of us here in the 193 Ford Mustang. And there's something about this livery that is absolutely beautiful, isn't it? The gold, the black and gold, might be a throwback to the old Lotus cars many, many years ago. Just showing my age a little bit there, Isaac, probably long before your time, but interesting to see this evening here. You can see James Matchin. He'll be out tonight looking for a good result, of course, for TTR Westside, both him and Nick Carter. Their season one was good for them, finishing in second overall. They'll be looking to go one better, won't they, this season?
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked about this a couple of times. There was a few teams that didn't really see them as a factor in this championship, but they certainly made that statement clear at the first race in Misano, and they had really good pace in the practice session throughout the Spanish Super Sprint and the little bit of running that we did actually get in that round. It's nice to see, touch wood. I'm just going to quickly do that to make sure we don't get any more issues tonight and we keep running. I don't want to jinx it, but these guys are on a mission to launch a championship charge both for the Drivers' Championship and the Teams' Championship, and they're both incredibly quick guys. So I'm just looking as well, Trev, we've got a bit of cloud cover over the circuit at the moment, so that will play a factor into this qualifying session. If the cloud cover continues to grow, the track temperature will probably drop a bit, and that could favour you running later in this session.
Absolutely, and of course tracks, especially around this circuit, tend to rubber in later in the session as well. You can see 11 minutes to go in qualifying, 4 minutes already having elapsed so far in this session. The man on your screen, James Matchin, we're starting to see some of these drivers. You can see on the mini map just how congested it is around this circuit as we take a look at Simon Bishop in the number 1 BMW car. He is going to be one of the favourites here tonight once again, as he always is. You can see just getting a little bit out of shape there, possibly some dirty air from the car in front, but track temperature here 33 degrees. That air temperature, we'll keep an eye on that as well. 27 degrees, cloudy conditions here as we see the times starting to come in already, and no surprises. We called it early, Isaac, a 1:58.895 there for Simon Bishop. No surprises there whatsoever from this man.
Not at all, but as he pulls off to the side there, presumably to return to the pit lane for a new set of tyres, that will not be the fastest we see. That is not the peak of his powers by any stretch of the imagination. We'll see him go a lot faster before the evening or this session is out. Just having a look up and down the field, we've got James Hammond, who's filling in tonight as a reserve for the TTR East Side team, jumping in for Frank Horvath. He's in the 59 Ford Mustang. He was a frequent runner in the Pro-Am category last season for Fogarty Motorsport. Stepped away this season due to family commitments, but he messaged earlier this evening, said I have an available Friday night if anyone wants a driver, and they were very quick on it over there at TTR East Side. They're very keen to get a very strong driver of his caliber in that seat. So very excited to see what he can do this evening. Looking forward to what he can do behind the wheel, and he loves the Mustang. He's very comfortable behind the wheel of this car. The other driver that's making their debut in Season 2 this evening is Bowen Piper in 7th place. We haven't seen him yet for Defy Motorsports. He missed the first 2 rounds of the season. Obviously, everyone missed the second round, but missed the first round of the season, so we haven't got to see him run yet in the pro class, but he's a very quick driver, and I'd expect to see him on the pace fairly quickly.
Absolutely, and some pretty handy peddlers jumping in for round 3 of this season. There was no round 2, and Isaac, we're not talking about round 2. We've sort of suppressed it in our memories here, of course, at Adrenaline GT. I can tell you that this season it's hotting up though, isn't it? You can see Piper there using every bit of track available to him, as we see Carter there going in to P2, 3/10 further down. James Matchin across the line, 4/10 from that 58.895. Still Simon Bishop sitting pretty. P1 for car number 1, and he is on provisional pole position so far this evening, already halfway through there or thereabouts in this qualifying session. Just remember that we have a 60-minute race coming up, the Silverstone Clash for round 3 of this season, and look how close it is from 3rd down to that 7th or 8th position. There's only a couple of tenths, not even a second, until we get down to Tanner in P13. Just over a second covering the top dozen or so cars here tonight.
And we're still missing a key player. I don't know if you've noticed, Trev. There's no Matt Donetti on the leaderboard yet up the top end. So I'd say he hasn't set a representative time. He'd still be down the order. So that is something that I've been keeping a very close eye on. We're yet to see a competitive lap time from Mr. Matt Donetti. We call him Mr. Pro-Am. He's not Pro-Am anymore. He's a pro driver now. But yeah, well, I'm very keen to see what he can do once he crosses the line. This is, but it's very close, as you said, all within a second in the top 12. And that stretches down to, Max Silver in the Mercedes. So Anthony Burrows doing a great job in 5th place moment, 5/10 of Simon Bishop's best time at the moment. A few cars back in the lane, getting new tyres, adjusting fuel loads, adjusting pressures. That's going to be a key in this session, is getting your tyre pressures right. So there'll be guys that have gone out to do a run. They'll return to the lane, have a look at the data that the game gives. And there we go. I've said his name enough times. I've willed him into existence. Martinetti goes to the top with a 58.4, Trev.
Unbelievable time, and no surprises there. We were taking a look at the other half of TTR Side Racing, the number 10 car of Anthony Burrows. But Martinetti, top of the timing sheets. Well, you said that that 1:58.8 wasn't going to be the quickest time that we were going to see here this evening, Isaac, and he's gone 4/10, almost 5/10 quicker than Simon Bishop. And that is the new high watermark here this evening, with just a tick under 6 minutes remaining in this session. Henderson up to P3 there for the Mercedes AMG, car number 877. And that is a terrific effort from them as well.
Hey, look at Bishop, he's gone to the top again.
And they are trading blows here, Simon Bishop and Martinetti. Well, we mentioned them right off the top of the show here this evening at the beginning of this round 3 clash here, the Silverstone clash. And, well, it's looking like, I don't want to say it's a 2-horse race for the Silverstone clash here this evening, but, well, these two, Martinetti and Simon Bishop, are in a class of their own so far with 5 minutes to go in this qualifying session.
Oh, was there ever any doubt? Were we ever really expecting anything else? Braden Henderson's up there. I'm glad I've got that prediction right. That was my wild card up there. That was going to be up the order in qualifying this evening. So he's up in 3rd place moment, but still a second off, or 9/10 off the fastest time of Simon Bishop. We're being told to expect 57s. 57.8 is a predicted pole time, so still 4/10 to find for Simon Bishop if he can pull it off. Looking down the order, we've got a few drivers. Wayne Tanner's up in 16th place moment in the AM class. That's brilliant. James Hammond has the red next to his name. He's not really an AM driver. They just we give that AM designation to the reserve drivers that don't have a class for Season 2. So he's technically an AM driver, but he's not in the AM Championship. So anything with Jay Hammond, you can sort of just push that to the side. Probably in your mind, I'd put him in the Pro-Am class for sure. So Wayne Tanner in the 97 Aston Martin leading the way in the AM class at the moment. And we've got Braden Henderson leading the way in the Pro-Am class, currently sitting in 4th. Adam Elzine has just jumped up into 3rd place in this session. Liam Tame still yet to set a lap time, which is huge. He's definitely one of the faster drivers. Simon Bishop's gone even faster now. 58.22 now plays 58.18. So he's found 0.04, 4/100ths of a second there, Trev. He is on. He's flying.
Absolutely. There should be a warning when they go that quick. Absolutely. They are on fire, those two at the moment. Elzine, of course, up there in P3. Henderson, good result for him there in P4. Then Carter down in P5. And it's tightening up in that sort of bottom half of the top 10 so far. And then it's very, very close all the way down the order. We've got a couple of drivers, well, all drivers have now set a time. And Liam Tame going up into P19 overall out on the circuit. There he is, 2.1 seconds off of the provisional pole position. But in many respects tonight, obviously the various classes, the various drivers will be looking to have their own little battles, won't they, Isaac, and really run their own race here this evening for the Silverstone Clash.
Yeah, absolutely. But keep in mind that where you finish now, it's not necessarily about class order, it's about overall order. So not only are you trying to battle with the drivers in your class for position, you're also trying to battle with the drivers that are in other classes. So you think about someone like Liam Tame or Mark Hurley, who are down in 18th and 19th place, but in the pro class, not only are they losing points to all the pro drivers, they're also losing points to the AM and Pro-Am drivers that are in front of them. So this is going to be absolutely crucial. Qualifying is more important than ever, I think, with the new point system and the way that AGT are running the championship this season. Track position is crucial, and you can see Mark Hurley jumps up into a 12th place, which is a massive jump, gets him more towards the front of the grid, and now has less Pro-Am and AM drivers, or he has no AM drivers really around him, but less Pro-Am drivers to contend with.
Absolutely, that's a positive for him. We've got just a tick over 90 seconds remaining in this qualifying session, and you can see it is tight between those top two. And why do I get a strong feeling that we're going to be talking about those two, Simon Bishop and Matt Donetti, right throughout the course of the 60-minute race coming up. Just the 0.2 of a second separating those two. Can Matt Donetti, is there a final twist in the tail with just over a minute now remaining in this qualifying session? Can Matt Donetti or somebody else emerge from the pack and retake that provisional pole position here this evening, as we see Tanner back into the pit lane now, as all of our drivers have set a time down there to Clayton Twining in P27 overall. And once again, a fantastic turnout tonight. The numbers in the opening couple of weeks of this new season have been incredible, like always, once again, haven't they?
Yeah, 27 drivers on the grid. It's absolutely huge. We have enough teams to field 38 drivers, but we do understand that, you know, it's a Friday night, life gets in the way. So we never expect to have absolutely everybody on the grid, and that's why we offer a reserve driver feature. But 27 drivers on the grid is incredibly impressive. It's a very strong field, and it creates great racing. There's a lot of drivers within each class to promote healthy battling, and we're just hoping that it's a good race tonight. We've got 7 seconds or 6 seconds now to go in qualifying. We're almost at the end, and I believe some of our crucial runners are in the lane.
Absolutely. Simon Bishop has finished his session. Matt Donetti went across the line, couldn't quite get there in the end. Look at that. Plus 0.155, just a 10th and a half from taking pole position, not provisional pole position there. You can see that belongs to Simon Bishop there with a 158.180. James Matchin in the pits. And it's going to be interesting to see how many of these drivers made it to the start-finish line to have a final run here in qualifying. Let's take a look. We've got a couple of cars there who have just snuck in within the time limits across the line. No improvement on that occasion.
That's the new front straight. We've got to get to the old front straight. Remember, that's what's throwing me off as well. They're all at the new F1 straight. This is still, we've got about half of the lap to go. Absolutely,
we do, as we see our drivers coming across the line, trying to make sure we don't miss any of them. Who have we got? We've got Norley in the pits, Sandwith as well. We've got car number 77 with Joy here coming around, and keep an eye on that track map in the bottom right hand corner of your screen as car number 77 comes across the line. Cannot improve on this occasion, as we are heading now to car number 16. Are we going to see an improvement here, Isaac, on this final run? No, into the pits he comes.
No, but Matt Donetti's still on a lap, I believe. I'm not sure if he's improving, but he is running around on a lap. He made the line in time. He has been pushing this lap. He's trying to get everything out of this BMW you could possibly can, using all the room. Look how close to the wall he is, but it's not enough. It is a slight improvement for Matt Donetti, but it's not enough for pole position, and it's just over a 10th between first and second as we finalise the results of our qualifying session.
What a qualifying session we've seen here this evening. Wow, 28 cars, and in the end it was Simon Bishop, the battle royale with his main rival Matt Donetti. 158.180 sees Simon Bishop take pole position in the pro class here tonight. Just a 10th of a second. Matt Donetti did improve, didn't he, on that final run, but only by about half a tenth or two. And not enough to take pole position. James Matchin in third, Carter in fourth, and we'll take a look at the overall results here. There you can see in the AM class there Hammond taking pole position with a 59.422. And just like that, we are about to begin the cars. They went so quickly there, Isaac, to the starting grid. I almost lost my train of thought, but we can see the drivers lining up on that starting grid now. We've got a couple of minutes before we get underway here. And I believe we've also got a longer formation lap as well tonight before we get underway at this Silverstone Circuit.
Yeah, so full formation lap, which is standard for all of our GT3 races. So they'll have a 3-minute countdown, which will give them a bit of a break to run to the bathroom and do whatever they need to do to be ready for the next hour, because it's a long time to sit in the seat. Doesn't seem like a long time when you're in there, but after the race, you sort of sit back and go, oh, I was in there for a while. And they do get a pit stop. They have one mandatory pit stop to serve this evening for fuel and tyres. So it'll be interesting to see what they go with in strategy. There is a bit of cloud cover, a bit of weather around, potentially some rain on the way. We don't know. You never know in England. The weather can change just like that. So we'll have to keep a very close eye on that, Trev.
Absolutely. You never quite know, do you? I'm from Melbourne, or close to Melbourne, and the weather, it's very, very temperamental down here in the southern states. Let me tell you, not that it's probably the last thing I should be talking about, I know, with what's happening in New South Wales, but just recapping, everyone who's just joining us, hello to you. I'm your host and lead commentator Trevor Byers with you, of course co-commentator Isaac Fogarty, the man who knows all about Adrenaline at GT ACC here this evening. But it is round 3 of this season for the Silverstone Clash here this evening. And as Isaac alluded to, 15-minute qualifying session, which has been run and done. And it was Simon Bishop taking it out in the pro class there with P1 just ahead of Matt Dinetti. Then a 60-minute race coming up in just a few moments' time. And like we mentioned, a pit stop being required, and that weather, always the famous British weather coming into play. And will that be a factor here this evening? We shall see. But you can see as we get ready to get back to the grid, we have a longer formation lap here this evening before we get underway. And for all of our, I'm about to say younger viewers, I feel quite old myself some days getting up in the morning, Isaac, but we are using the old front straight, aren't we, for this Silverstone race tonight?
That we are, so which means that turn 1, as we mentioned earlier during the track walk, turn 1 becomes cops, and I'm very excited by that prospect. So the old layout, not many people, not many of the younger people even my age, and I'm 24, would have seen the F1 circuit when it was, or the F1 racing around here when it was set up like this. But the GT3 cars still use this old layout, and personally, Trev, I'm a big fan of it. I absolutely love it. And now the cars are on their formation lap. So I get one lap to see the sights, take in a bit of this nice, lovely British countryside, and get their tyres warmed up and ready to go for this race.
It's going to be fantastic to see as we see our drivers pulling away from the starting grid. I think it was around 2010. I remember firing up F1 2010, the sort of the newer generation, the first of the new generation F1 games, and I had no idea that the track had actually changed, so I actually turned left where I should have turned right. I think I tried to go into the old pit lane, but yeah, we'll leave that story for another day. Simon Bishop, there he is, Matt Dinetti. What will be going through his mind, of course, just behind his arch rival Simon Bishop? I have a strong feeling that we're going to see this right the way throughout the season in the pro class. These two are going to be at each other right down to the season finale later in the year.
Yeah, these two are going to be joined at the hip. They were joined at the hip for the majority of Season 2, especially the back half of the season. And it just set the tone for what we've seen already so far. Just so close to each other. They're in the exact same car now. It's a BMW M4 GT3. Almost running near identical setups from what I understand as well. So they could not be more equal if they tried. These two are they're just fast. We put them in the alien. We throw the term around alien a lot. We throw that term around, and these two definitely are aliens. You can see a little bit of a flash on the screen there for Martinetti, as if to prove my point that he might be an alien. But they've got two very fast charging Ford Mustangs, TTR Westside Mustangs, right behind them. And looking at this week's balance of power, I'll get the numbers up for you because we did have that. There is no ballast in the Ford Mustang around here, Trev. So there's no extra weight added to the Ford Mustang to give it a slight advantage maybe over the BMW, which does have a few kilos of weight in it. I'm just getting the exact numbers. We have a little bit of time here, which is good as we run around this lap. But yeah, so no weight for the Ford Mustang, 8 kilos for the BMW. So that's a little bit of a little tidbit there for you, for your statistical knowledge at home watching along. So there's a bit of a difference there in the straight line speed, I would think.
Absolutely, we love it for those playing along at home. Something that doesn't warm my heart too much, the Ferrari there. As you can see, only P12 down there, but who can we keep an eye on? It's the calm before the storm, isn't it? On this formation lap, who should we be keeping an eye out for? Not just in the Pro class, but the Pro-Am and Am classes as well here this evening before we get underway.
Look, it's a very close grid. I wouldn't want to make any bold predictions before this race gets started, but Braden Henderson did qualify up the order in the Pro-Am class. He's currently sitting 5th. Very strong around here, very competitive. Shannon Stalley as well, currently sitting 10th in overall, and he's 2nd in the Pro-Am class as the cars start to grid up now. But definitely a driver to look out for. Wayne Tanner starting 16th in this race. We have a car in the pit lane by looks, but I can't quite make out what number that is, but we do have a car in the pit lane for this race start. But I'll hand over to you, Trev, to get things underway.
Absolutely. Car number 43 there in the pit lane. We'll keep an eye on that, but the drivers are getting ready to start this one. Round 3, the Silverstone Clash here for AGT, ACC. We're almost ready to go. And we hope you're ready at home on your Friday evening, morning or afternoon, wherever you're watching right around the world. We're ready to tear this one to shreds very, very shortly. It's going to be 60 minutes of non-stop action around this Silverstone Circuit in the heart of England. And we are just about ready to go. The waiting is over. Green, green, green. You know what that means. Go, go, go. And Matt Zanetti makes the perfect start around the outside of Simon Bishop off the starting line to lead. Incredible start from him. Getting his elbows out nice and early did Matt Zanetti. And was Simon Bishop napping there on that occasion. And then it's the two Mustangs, Machin and Carter, 3rd and 4th. Keep an eye out for them. And then it's the first of the Mercedes-Benz cars, very much in a sandwich there. It's BMW, then Ford and Ford Mustangs galore. And then it's Mercedes-Benz as the timing sheets just readjusting themselves here at the moment. But what a start for Matt Zanetti on that occasion. Very Max Verstappen, if you don't mind there, getting his elbows out, going around the outside of Simon Bishop and taking the race lead here on lap 1.
Bold from Matt Zanetti. My mouth was open. It's not over yet. They're side by side as we run down towards Abbey for the first time. So Simon Bishop has something to say about that. He got a better run through that final, well, not the final complex corners, what would be the final complex of corners if you were on the old circuit, or the new circuit I should say. But yes, great run from Simon Bishop. Now we've got the TTR Westside Mustangs keeping Matt Zanetti company, pushing him wide, and he's now lost another spot. Cameron Fleming's trying to get himself into the mix here. We've got a TTR Mustang that's gone off the circuit.
No.
Oh, we've got cars made contact. That is absolutely huge. That is Cameron Fleming and Nick Carter, who has also made contact with Adam Elzine. We've got cars stranded and scrambling across the circuit to avoid the incident. That is the 711 Mustang of Nick Carter strewn on the Wellington Straight. That is a huge incident. Georgie Takacs dives to the inside to avoid that contact with Nick Carter, and that was absolutely massive. Nick Carter got pushed wide on the exit of Aintree, which got him onto the dirt, and then came back across into the side of, I believe it was Cameron Fleming in the 7 BMW. Nick Carter's going to have to come in. That car will be struggling at the moment. We've got another car, a Mercedes, a bunch of cars actually in the lane. So a lot of cars with damage at the moment, Trev. This is huge in this race.
Incredible to start this race. The tension, the drama on the opening lap. We saw Fleming, he started out wide, didn't he, and just couldn't quite get it back on the racetrack without getting in the way of those other cars. But this is an incredible start. What drama to get us underway, and we're not even through the opening lap of this race. You can see on your track map in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, plenty of cars coming into the lane. And are they going to be able to get all of that damage fixed in the early part of this race? It is Simon Bishop who is continuing on his merry way. He now leads by 1.682 seconds in this race. But what drama, and it's not finished yet as Matt Donetti lining up James Matchin here as we start this second lap.
Through the loop into Aintree, this is where it all went down last time. Matt Donetti can get a good run out of here. He's been getting good drive off this corner all weekend, and the BMW is fast in the slipstream. Remember, that Mustang has 0 ballast versus the 8 kilos in the back of the BMW. So that will slow him down a little bit. He has a cheeky look as they run down towards Brooklands for the second time, and he'll have to get flow the car nicely through here. But just that was an absolute huge incident. We've got cars leaving the pits now. There will be cars that go a lap down in this race, and with a race that's got no safety car, that's absolutely so difficult to come back from. You lose 58% of the lap just sitting in the pit lane, and so that is huge for some of the key runners in our championship as they exit the lane. So blue flags will be shown to them to get out of the way of our race leaders. You can see Cameron Fleming just in front of this pack of cars, but I believe there was multiple cars that got caught up in Cameron Fleming being launched across the track. You could see in the vision that there was multiple cars scrambling to all sides of the circuit, Trev, and everyone was just trying to go everywhere. It was really hard to tell which way both of those cars were going to go, and for the amount of cars to get through that did, I think they did an excellent job. Obviously, we've had multiple cars drop down the order. It looks like Max Silver's got damage, Cameron Fleming's got damage, Nick Carter definitely got damage, Adam Elzine got damage, he's still in the lane with repairs, and Mark Hurley also suffering damage. Looks like Anthony Burrows potentially as well. So everyone with green has been in and served their stop, which means that they suffered damage, and that's absolutely huge because some of those guys, some of those drivers, Max Silver included, were looking strong in the Pro-Am class for this race.
And we've lost some big players, haven't we, to start this race. It's been drama absolutely everywhere as car number 16 with a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And I tell you what, it's going from bad to worse here on these opening laps. A drive-through penalty. You lose enough time coming in for a regular pit stop, of course, changing the tyres, the damage, but how much time would these drivers be losing for drive-through penalties as well on top of that?
You only lose 18% of the lap, so it's actually 49% of the lap lost for a tyre change, only 18% of the lap lost going through the pit lane, so it's only a 23-second pit lane, which is actually quite short compared to most of the, or short in comparison to the lap compared to most of the circuits we go to on this calendar. So not a huge loss to have to serve the drive-through, but still quite large in the grand scheme of things, and considering he's already a lap down and 28 in this race, it's not looking good for Adam Elzine to be able to fight back in this one. Back out on circuit now. He would have got that drive-through as well. For those of you who are curious, it would be for speeding on exit. So if you speed on the way in, you get a 30-second stop go. If you speed in the pit lane after serving your stop, you receive a drive-through penalty. So that's what he would have got that drive-through for.
Absolutely, and right across it, you will not miss a thing right throughout each race, every lap, every race, right throughout this season with Isaac Fogarty in the special comments chair. But here's we've got to show these guys, don't we? Isaac, the Fogarty Motorsport Junior team there with the beautiful McDonald's livery, and Tekak's car number 24, only 2.3 seconds behind Clayton Twining there in the Mercedes. He's not doing too bad as we see another drive-through penalty for Adam Elzine. I think he's, has he been caught speeding in the pit lane for a second time after coming in to serve the first one?
that definitely is potentially has happened. We're not entirely sure. I don't know if he actually did come in that time through to serve that penalty. We'll have to double check that.
We got that message again, but he does have 3 laps, I believe. Is that correct to come in?
Oh yeah, typically it'll give you a message every time you cross the line. So the first time you get given the penalty, let's say you have 3 laps remaining to serve the penalty, and then every time you cross the line, it issues another message to let you know that you have a limited number of laps remaining. So what that message most likely would have been, and I did miss it, but it would have been saying he now has 2 laps to serve that penalty. So either this time by or the next time by, he will have to come into the lane to serve that drive-through. And this is a battle that's still going on, Trev. Matt Tonetti has not lost the back of James Machen. However, Simon Bishop has just disappeared into the distance, and this is doing wonders for his championship at the moment. He's 4 seconds clear of this little battle pack that's going on.
Absolutely. How long can James Machen for TTR hold this man, Matt Tonetti, at bay? And all the while, it's just must be so frustrating for Matt Tonetti and the CP Motorsports BMW. How frustrating is it? He can see Simon Bishop further ahead. He knows where his key battle is in this championship and for this race, but he's got to deal with James Machen first, and a very, very wide Ford Mustang here on lap 4.
If there's one thing that James Machen does well, it's that he makes that Ford Mustang as wide as possible. It's already a very wide body car, but he's basically about as wide as the track when you're trying to overtake him. He does not make it easy. And Matt Tonetti, he won't want to spend too much time behind him, because he knows he has the pace to catch up and keep up with Simon Bishop. And he'll want to go back to back. He won the first round. Second round was a non-event so far. And then this third round, so this is the second race we've had this season, and Matt Tonetti will want to cement his championship run by going back-to-back. He should still lead the championship if he finishes second. Remember, Simon Bishop finished third in that first race of the season. Braden Henderson actually currently has the fastest lap of the race, so he gets the bonus point for being the fastest car on the circuit at this stage. But Matt Tonetti will want to get past and secure his lead of the championship. He won't want to give it up just yet, not after one round. So this will be a battle that will continue on for a while, much to Matt Tonetti's disliking. It's very difficult to overtake at this circuit, Trev, so you'll have to bide his time, think very carefully, and look at where, if I was him, I'd be looking at where Matt or James Machen isn't as fast on exit, where he's just a little bit slower through a corner to maybe set up a run down the front straight or down A straight to get himself up the inside.
And he's got to play the long game, doesn't he? He's a pretty experienced campaigner now, is Matt Tonetti. Simon Bishop, like we said, is continuing to push. CP Motorsports are in third and fourth actually so far, but we can see Henderson just half a second further back in the first of the Mercedes AMG cars. And there appears, unless my eyes are deceiving me, that there's some damage on the front of that car as well.
Yeah, it looks like he was caught up in that incident on lap 1. So there's a few cars walking wounded out there at the moment that did get involved with whatever that was that happened when Fleming and Carter came together. But not enough damage for him to want to bring it into the pits. Obviously not enough damage for him to really be even affected. He's done the fastest lap of the race, so if there is damage on that car, I don't think he notices, Trev.
Absolutely. It's not slowing him down too much either, is it? He's doing a pretty good job there so far, but let's have a look at this man, the number 59, leading his class, but like we said, take that with a pinch of salt, because this man is a lot quicker than the AM class. That red colour suggests, as we see, Elzine has cleared that drive-through penalty. So he's been a bit of a naughty boy. He's come in, he served that drive-through penalty, and he should be good to go after getting that slap on the wrist. We see Liam Tame here, the number 56 BMW, and for BCG1 Racing, and manufacturers champions, of course, in season 1. And for a man who waited a long time in the qualifying session before he set a time, he's not doing too badly there. 11th overall on the circuit so far.
And keep in mind, he would have gained a fair few positions off that incident at the start. He did he was about 19th last time we checked him in qualifying, so he did struggle for pace in this BMW. I don't believe this is one of his favourite circuits to drive. I know he does fine, especially that section we've just been through of Maggots and Beckett's quite tricky. So he will be struggling a little bit for pace around here, but sitting 11th place at the moment, doing well, just in behind Bell and Piper, another pro driver. But as we mentioned earlier, they're not just battling the pros, they're not just battling the pro-ams, they're not just battling the AMs this season, they're battling everybody for points, because it's all about where you sit overall and what points you can score overall, because we've done away with the individual class points this season. So 11th place, that'll yield you a nice bag of points at the end of this race, but he'll definitely want to get higher before the time is up. But we've still got 45 minutes to go. We're barely a quarter of the way through this race, and there's already so much that's happened.
Absolutely, there's been action everywhere, no matter where you look, and there's been enough action to keep us pretty happy so far, but we've still got almost 46, well, we do have 46 minutes left in this race. You can see that the track temperature now 28 degrees, a little bit cooler than the 33-degree track temperatures we saw for qualifying. If anything, the weather, the sun is shining here at Silverstone, which is always rare to see in the beautiful United Kingdom, but the air temperature 26 degrees. You can see 10 minutes, 30 minutes. That weather forecast is looking pretty good. I think we might be okay here, Isaac. We might get through this race without any rain whatsoever. But you can see there Matt Donetti and James Machen. This is very important, this battle, not just for this race, but also the Manufacturers' Championship as well, between TTR and CP Motorsports. Just the 21 points between them, and every single point counts here when it comes to this battle.
Yeah, we cannot write out the fact that these guys are first and second in the team's championship, and they will know that, and they will know they have to push hard. Obviously, Nick Carter, that earlier incident has put him right down the order, which means James Machen is fighting alone in this race for the most part, unless Nick Carter can really come back. Has a look down the inside, does Matt Donetti, but nothing doing there. Through the club and onto the Hamilton straight, named after Sir Lewis Hamilton, one of the greatest Formula One drivers of all time, and it's one of the most winningest Formula One drivers of all time. And both of these guys will want to try and collect that record for themselves in the AGT sphere, the AGT universe. They'll want to become one of the most successful drivers, and they're certainly going a long way to do that at the moment. But speaking of successful drivers, Trev, we've got Simon Bishop, and the numbers just disappeared off the screen, but I saw it moments ago. There we go, 6.5 seconds is that lead, so that's continuing to grow, and he now has the fastest lap of the race to boot.
Absolutely, he is flying, isn't he? We always say it up here in the commentary box that people have checked out at the front, but 6.5 seconds. Amazing, isn't it, when you think that just on lap 7 of this race, and you know, you could say in one way that being helped by these two who are just squabbling, you should say, in second and third, and then the other CP Motorsports entry there with Henderson not too far behind him, so there's another battle happening, 4th and 5th. Of course, in the different class, Henderson leading his own class, doing very well there, 4.6 ahead of this man. As you can see, it's 3 BMWs inside the top 4 as we continue to go right the way down the order. And there are battles happening everywhere, and there's a good little battle forming here between the two Ferraris of DeWitt and Griffin. And, well, you talked about the action we've seen in the opening 15 minutes, and it's continuing right throughout the field here.
Yeah, it's up and down the field. There's battles going on everywhere, which is what we like to see. We don't want to see cars too spread out. And this is, yeah, Griffin and Jaden DeWitt battling away in the Pro-Am class, both in the Ferrari, so a relatively even playing field. They've got Matt Boyd sitting in behind them in the Fogarty Motorsports 79 BMW, and then Ian Stewart not too far behind him. But we've got Bob Norley up right behind Riley Nicholson as well in 12th and 13th place, and then Bowen Piper has now been overtaken by Liam Tame, who works his way up to 9th place. So there's a little bit going on up and down this field at the moment. and a few battles going on. James Hammond about 3/10 behind Senna Stallion. I'm just looking at the numbers, just having a look at the totem, who's close to who at the moment. But tyres will start to come into play soon. There's a lot of effort being put on these tyres. 4 tyres is fairly even in terms of the corner split, 10 and 8. So the load on either tyre is actually going to be relatively even, but it's a high tyre wear circuit. So we're only 20 or 18 minutes into this race, but drivers will start to struggle. So this is where you start to think, do I come in early, try and get an undercut with fresh tyres on those around me, or do I stay out later? I may suffer initially, but I'll have better tyres at the end of that race. But then also thinking about track position, because track position is very important.
Absolutely, it is really key, isn't it? Especially on this circuit where it is difficult to pass. We've got 41 minutes remaining in this race, and we are approaching one-third race distance, and it's going to be a much easier decision for Simon Bishop, that's for sure, sitting pretty out in front. That gap now, it was almost a second a lap, wasn't it? 7.4 seconds is the gap now. And speaking of pit stop strategy, do either one of these two, they're not going to be thinking about this at the moment, as we see Matt Zanetti going down the inside. Can he make this move stick? He is side by side. Can he get it done? It is oh so close. You could not slide a sheet of paper between them there through that corner, but Matt Zanetti has the move done. My question to you, Isaac, was should they consider maybe coming in and getting some clear air? But you can see Matt Zanetti, he's taken matters into his own hands and he's back up into P2. And finally, with 40 minutes to go in this race, can he start making some inroads to Simon Bishop in P1?
Well, that is the question. You also got to think about how much of his tyre has he used to just try and get past James Machen. It's now an 8-second deficit to Simon Bishop up the road. So this is what we're going to have to keep a very close eye on. He's already built about a second gap out to James Machen. You can see the pace difference between the two drivers. But is it going to be enough for Matt Zanetti to catch back up to Simon Bishop? We know they were close in qualifying. There was about a 10th between them once we crossed the line at the end of the session. Matt Zanetti was on for a 27. He did say that he was looking at a 27, but got the middle part of the lap wrong, so was not able to complete the lap effectively. The gap has stayed the same in that final sector. There was no change in the gap between Simon Bishop and Matt Zanetti, which tells me that they're on very similar paces. James Machen also keeping up with Matt Zanetti now that he's passed him. So not entirely sure what we're going to see unfold within the next 39 minutes, Trev, but I'm very excited to see where we're at the end of it.
Absolutely. Not quite as excited as I'm sure our viewers are at home on your Friday night, morning, afternoon, wherever you're watching. Let us know across the various platforms, of course. AGT, ACC on YouTube, as well as TrackSpotTV on YouTube. TrackSpotTV as well on Twitch. Big hello to everyone out there watching here this evening. We've crossed the line for lap 10. We haven't. So this man has. Simon Bishop, there he is. 8.4 seconds is the gap, and he is still very much in the box seat here this evening, but still a long, long way to go. And it's hard to believe, considering all the drama we've had so far this evening in the opening 10 laps of this race. We've still got 38 minutes to go. As you can see, James Machen there. So we've got some gaps forming right throughout the field. As you can see, there is Holton there, the other CP Motorsport entry. But we've got a little bit of a congested pack of cars here. And it starts with the Mercedes-Benz almost making a move there on the BMW, close but not quite there for Henderson. In fact, I think that might be some, is that some traffic further ahead of him? I think it might be some traffic from one of the lap cars in front for Henderson, but he's got some interesting company there behind him. Car number 63, not too far behind. Then Hammond, of course, and then it's this man, car number 77, the Mercedes AMG car. And Liam Tame as well, just 2.0 seconds. The other BCG entry here this evening, BCG 1 and 9 so far. So they'll be a little bit disappointed with that. Liam will be looking to make his way through the field. And it's a little bit like at Red Bull, isn't it? So we've got Max Verstappen leading in that team, and then we've got good old Yuki there trying to get into the points-paying positions. It's a bit of a weird comparison to draw, I know, at this point in time, but you know what I'm trying to say. As we see this man, first race of the season. Oh, big moment through Maggots and Beckett's. Is he going to collect it up? He just keeps it all pointing in the right direction, Isaac.
What a catch. I'll have to come back. I don't know how Liam Tape's going to feel about being referred to as Yuki Tsunoda in his team, but we'll have to check in with him about that. That was a massive slide from Bowen Piper and a brilliant catch. This man races on controller as well. So just think about for a moment, for anyone that's played this game, you know how tough it is even on a wheel. So to be able to do that on a controller was incredibly impressive, and to have the pace that he does on a controller as well. He's pretty much everyone else in this field, I'm sure, is on a wheel. We don't have anybody else on a controller, so he's doing a brilliant job pushing the limits of that track limit, or pushing the limits of the track there, I should say, at club, and using all of it. He's got Les Sandwith not too far behind him in 11th place as well. But that was, yeah, that's a brilliant piece of driving. There's a lot of brilliant driving going on up and down the field at the moment, particularly from this man. He sits 4th in class at the moment. Had a little bit of a tumultuous season 1. He does stream his races. He's we call him famous YouTube streamer, Les Sandwith, LJV15. And he does tend to get a bit distracted by his chat, his little chat that he has on the side of the screen. He's made some adjustments recently to make it a little bit more accessible for him to read the chat without looking too far away from the screen, because every time he went to look at the chat, he'd drive off the circuit and something would happen. So it was brilliant to see him further up the field this season and showing what he can do on behind the wheel of that Ferrari.
Absolutely, I feel for him. Does anyone who's gets distracted by Twitch or YouTube chats, it's usually me. I get sidetracked very easily, but can you believe that he is the first of the Ferraris, like you said, 4th in his class? You'll have to send me that link as well, and apologies to Liam, and I'm sure that'll get back to him. If anything, he's taller than Yuki Tsunoda, isn't he? But there we go. Big shout out to you, Liam, as we see car number 15 there continuing on. Nicholson there, car number 6. And where is he? He is P5 currently in his class, and doing very nicely there as well. As we see some pit stop action here, we've got a Ferrari into the lane. He might have overshot his pits there. He's come in and he is into the pits as we head back to the front. The gaps are quite steady at the front here, Isaac. When are we expecting? Could this trigger something? Could we be starting to see those pit stops at the midway part of this race?
Oh, I don't know if he's still around. I might consult our resident current season driver, Will Morgan, who is currently on rest this evening after a brake pedal issue left him out of tonight's racing. He's been providing me a couple of insights throughout the evening about stops, so I might touch base with him and see if he knows when they might expect to come in. But personally, I think we'll see someone starting to blink now. Jaden DeWitt in a little bit earlier than I would have thought. You'd probably wait until at least about 30 minutes to go before you start to pit. But he could start a flurry of action. Someone's got to blink first in these scenarios, Trev, and Jaden DeWitt has been brave enough to be the one that blinks first, so now everyone could see the trend and go, I think it might be time to come in. So we've got another car on the lane. So just as we say that, Braden Henderson, the first of our front runners, he was in 5th place. He has now jumped into the lane. So that is the first of the front runners to bite, and that will start the action from here. We'll say, yeah, about 30 minutes to go is Will Morgan is saying. So high deck track, 30-minute stints unless someone stuck behind someone. So maybe someone like Senan Stalley, who is just in behind James Hammond, struggling to find a way past, might be ideal to jump into the lane.
Absolutely, as we continue to watch this battle unfold. Half a dozen or so cars. You can see, as you mentioned, Henderson Joy, Sandwith, also to the number 57 car. Gray Tanner also in the pits. As we take a look at CP Racing here in the hands of Senan Staley. I bet he wishes he could drive like Ayrton Senna, that's for sure, in the Pro-Am class. My apologies there for getting that one wrong, but CP Racing looking very, very good here at the moment in the AMR V8 Vantage car, but you can see the front runners coming in. Is that going to be a bit of an indication to see what some of the other Pro class drivers are going to do right the way throughout the field? And we've got a few drivers there making some comebacks, some sort of damage limitation. That's the buzzword, isn't it, Isaac? You know, we see drivers struggling at the start of a race or getting involved in an incident. They tend to call it damage limitation, but you can see still a long, long way to go for these guys. And you can see there Anthony Burrows there, car number 10, the Ford Mustang, as we see Boyd also in the pits in a car. Very, very famous name, that one as well. And I'm talking about Fogarty Motorsports, obviously, as he comes back out into the lane. And our race leader is into the pits as Matt Donetti continues on, electing to stay out here. Is he going longer to try and get some potentially better tyre life at the end of this race?
Well, that is the question. We did talk about how crucial that was going to be. So the timing board not yet updated to say that Matt Donetti is the lead of this race, but he hasn't, there we go, just updated now. He has effectively inherited the lead of this race from James Machen, which that gap is now at to 4.7 seconds. So that gap has grown. He is starting to find his rhythm, Matt Donetti, here behind the number of that 51, or behind the wheel of that 51 BMW. He's got a bit of traffic in front of him, should get out the way relatively easily. But just back on that damage limitation, you'll start to see the green boxes next to the driver. So the little one, for those of you playing along at home, indicates that they still have a mandatory stop to serve, or how many mandatory stops to have. So if there's a race with 3 or 4 required, it will start at 4 and then count down as they serve their stops. So once that's all cleared, the box goes green, and you can see where drivers are placed within the field based on their little box colour and if they still need to come in. So pretty much everyone up the front. Simon Bishop is the first one that has served that stop. Then we've got Braden Henderson is the second driver currently to have served that mandatory stop. So Matt Donetti, I wouldn't wait too long before I blink, because Simon Bishop is going to be on incredibly fresh tyres and will be quite fast, but I think waiting a little bit longer will serve him well here if he wants to catch up to the man in the number 1 on the board.
Absolutely, he'll pay for it now, but he will be in better shape come towards the end of this race. Lap 14. Oh, he almost had to breathe in there, didn't we? As he came into the pit lane. I don't know what it is about this, whether it's this particular pit lane, but we see the drivers absolutely flying in there. And we've got Donetti in, as well as Holton as well. So both CP Motorsport cars into the pits as James Machen continuing on his merry way. We saw him, of course, battling with Matt Donetti. We think that might have affected some of that tyre wear. It might have just worn those tyres out even quicker, as we see Twining and Takacs as well lower down the field. Also coming into the pits, Piper and Norley as well in the 81 and 82 AMG Mercedes cars. But boy, this is going to shake things up. But I think at the end of the day, we are still going to see Simon Bishop well and truly in the lead of this race. He's got Sinclair just ahead of him there, 3.5 seconds further down the road. He's got a little bit of traffic to contend with as he rounds that up now, but for the most part he's in some clear air as we've got a stop-go penalty. This is huge for one of our front runners, the number 98 BMW of Hayden Holton, I beg your pardon, for CP Motorsports. This is huge, and that is going to cost him, and now he's off the circuit as well.
That is a huge slide, a huge spin. We saw that happen to Bowen Piper earlier, and he was just able to catch it. That is cold. That is what cold tyres, green tyres can do to you through that section of circuit. It's so tricky, and you'll be so frustrated getting that 30-second stop go, which would have been for speeding on entry into the pit lane, and just trying to drive with that frustration in the back of your mind, and also on green, cooler tyres that aren't up to pressure yet. It just all came unstuck for him. He'll be even more frustrated now. He'll He was in such a good position, 4th place in this race. It was going to be a great bag of points for the CP Motorsports team. The good news is, well, not good news for most people, but good news for CP Motorsports is that we have Nick Carter down the order for TTR Westside, so it won't be as big a loss, but it'll still be frustrating because this was going to be a really strong race for them and almost, in a sense, a free kick in the team's championship to gain some valuable points and separate themselves from those behind them.
Absolutely, and well, every cloud has a silver lining, as the saying goes. We see plenty of clouds, don't we, here at Silverstone over the years, but as you said, there is a positive to take out of that for this CP Motorsports car. They are leading that championship overall, but there is one of the TTR Westside cars further down the field as well. As Simon Bishop continues to, he's got the fastest lap. Staley and Sinclair both into the pits. So you can see that the yellow one there on the leaderboard indicating those drivers yet to make a pit stop. And there is one required pit stop for this 60-minute race here this evening as part of this Silverstone Clash. And the green, of course, showing us those who have come in and made their pit stop. So we can see just the 4 drivers yet to come into the pits. In fact, Sinclair is in the pits in car number 55 there. And it's going to be Holton as well. He's coming in to serve that penalty straight away, which isn't a bad idea, is it, Isaac? He gets it out of the way. He's still got 25 minutes or so to try and make his way back up through the field.
Yeah, still plenty of time. He's got a lot of pace in that BMW, so I do not doubt he will find his way back up well inside the top 10 before this race is over. Just looking as well, the gap between Simon Bishop and Mazzinetti is now 3 seconds. So we didn't know whether the overcut would pay off for Mazzinetti, and I don't remember just how close he was as they approach the pit stop phase of this race, but it is now, was 8 seconds when he first overtook James Machen. It's now 3.3, so that gap has shrunk by over 50%, and he's now a lot closer. It is slowly closing as well, which I'm rubbing my hands together at the thought of a battle between these two just as we get towards the end of this race. Liam Tame now in the second of the BCG2 cars. James Hammond and James Machen, the 2 Jameses, electing to stay out even longer, so running deep into this race. This is a very brave call, Trev. They'll have great tyres at the end of this race, but they will suffer on track position as a result of staying out so long.
Absolutely, of course. The longer they leave it, they will end up with more. I guess they'll have more sweets to play with at the end, and they'll have more tyre life on those cars. But they're really paying for it at the moment. I guess for both of them, we see the 2 Jimmies first and second there, 10.4 behind James Machen. I'm trying to get my head around what they've got to gain out of staying out longer. Are they potentially looking to maintain track position? We know that it's not like Formula One, is it? They don't have a team on the pit wall telling them the gaps, telling them where they'll come back out after their stop. So they're just looking to run longer to purely get that better tyre life at the end, potentially.
To my understanding, and I believe this is universally known, that this is a very high tyre deck circuit. So we don't typically see drivers, if they do run the overcut strategy, it's only usually a lap or 2 more. We did see, I don't remember if it was James Machen or Nick Carter as James Hammond comes in, but it definitely was one of the TTR Westside boys ran a lot longer at Misano, and it didn't pay off the way they wanted it to in terms of how they did. So that's James Machen in the lane. James Hammond will stay out even longer. So the man that was on the podium does now blink, which is big. But the question for me becomes, as Senan Stalley has found his way up ahead of Braden Henderson into provisional 3rd at this stage, depending on where James Machen pops out, that's going to be a question. Now you can see where he is on circuit coming into the loop and Aintree now. Where will he pop out in relation to James Machen?
Let's have a look. He's approaching through the loop, and then Aintree, of course. So many famous corner names here. Beckett's Chapel, I'm getting excited. Stowe, the Hamilton Straight, of course, the more recent Hamilton Straights after the great man Lewis Hamilton, of course. We talked about he is the most winningest driver, isn't he? 100 plus wins for him. Absolute legend of this sport. As we see the man who I called Senna, of course, Senan Staley, 1.2 behind Henderson here on this occasion. Fast approaching, as we see here, through Woodcote and down towards Copse. And who could forget famous Copse corner, or infamous actually, wasn't it? Speaking of Hamilton and Verstappen back in 2021. And then it's Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. Very, very difficult, or very easy, I should say, to get these corners wrong. We've seen a couple of drivers struggling, haven't we, to control these cars through this Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel complex, and then on to Hanger Straight down towards Stowe. You know all the corners if you're a motorsport fan, as we see Nicholas there 1 second behind Liam Tame. But we've got a few battles further down the order across multiple classes here, as we see Fleming just ahead of DeWitt in the number 5 Ferrari car. And he's sitting pretty, not too bad of a result so far for Jaden DeWitt in the Pro-Am class in the Ferrari 296. And, well, they finished 10th, I believe, didn't they, in Season 1? But it was as McLaren Motorsport. Wasn't it, Isaac? They've changed manufacturers, haven't they, for Season 2?
They have. They jumped across to Ferrari. They were the only McLaren team that ran in Season 1, and things didn't quite go the way they wanted to with McLaren, and the deal did fall apart for Season 2, but Ferrari were kind enough to pick them up and offer them a car to run for this season. It's a very nice looking 296 car. And just keep in mind that Cameron Fleming's one of those drivers that was caught up in that incident at the start of the race. So he's still running in 20th place, found his way up inside the top 20, but he's been running on those tyres for about, I'd say, about 35 minutes now. So first 5 minutes of the race he was on the other set, and now he's on a new set of tyres. So this is going to be a very old tyre, whereas Jaden DeWitt only pitted 15 minutes ago. So there's a 20-minute difference in the age of these tyres, which is going to be crucial. That's a 10-lap difference in the age of these tyres, which is going to be crucial in when we get towards the end of this race, and hopefully Jaden DeWitt can find his way back up inside the top 20.
Yes, and how much is that going to play a factor? We talked about Cam Fleming very much being out of position as Hammond in. So we know he came into the pit, so did Machen as well. The two Mustangs there, 3rd and 4th, they'll be pretty happy with that. 2 BMWs lead, but look at this gap. 3.7 seconds. This is incredible, isn't it? And talk about rubbing our hands together with just a tick under 20 minutes remaining in this race. Could we be in for a grandstand finish here? Oh, we'll keep an eye on this gap. We know Simon Bishop is a wily old customer. Is he going to try and manage that gap? What would be going through his mind at the moment, Isaac? Would he be? It's down to 3.5 seconds here at the moment. Matt Donetti is closing in here on lap 19.
Yeah, I think both of these guys know there's a long way to go in this race, 19 minutes, and if Matt Donetti does close up, he's got to get past Simon Bishop, and that's never an easy task, and he knows that. Simon knows that. I think he'll just be focused on driving to a number at this stage. He's such a professional and just knows these cars so well, the tyre model of this game so well, that he will just drive to a number. He'll know exactly what he has to do, and if you look at his lap times, the consistency that he has across an hour-long race like this is second to none. He's just so brilliant at managing his lap time, managing the tyres, making sure that if Matt Donetti does use, because you have to use a lot of tyre just to catch up to Simon Bishop, if he does catch up to Simon Bishop, that he has tyre life to respond to it at the end when he gets there. So Matt Donetti, he's got a big task ahead of him to catch up to Simon Bishop, but he's going to use a lot of tyre to do it, and Simon Bishop will be ready if he does get there.
Absolutely, they're both on Hanger Straight, approaching Stowe there. We'll get back to that lead battle in just a few moments. Simon Bishop does still hold that. We know points are going to be oh so important, and it is Simon Bishop holding that fastest lap of the race so far. Then it's James Machen. There he is in P3, 16.3 seconds further back, still on for a podium finish, as we see Henderson now in car number 877. How have you seen his race this evening? He's 2.6 ahead of Staley, and he's probably sitting pretty, isn't he, there up in P4 overall and P1 in class tonight?
Yes, one of the drivers that I tipped to be stronger here this evening. He has found a lot of pace. Very much a PC Assetto Corsa driver. Was supposed to race for a different team earlier in the season and just wasn't able to make it happen with the with the pedal issues that he was having. He didn't have quite the wheel and pedal setup, but he bought an adapter, jumped in for another team that was short of a driver, and is running in the 877 car. He's doing a great job. This is a driver that we haven't seen too much of. We've seen him a bit here and there, especially around like practice servers, doing some running, but I knew he would be strong here, and I put him on my underdog list for tonight to be in the top 5, and he's certainly proven me right at this stage. We've still got 17 minutes to go. Anything can happen, but he's leading the way in the Pro-Am class at the moment. Shannon Staley sits third in that class, and Riley Nicholson actually sitting third in class with Adam Joy right behind him. There, well, I say right behind him, it's about a 3-second gap, but he's doing a great job as well, Riley Nicholson. A driver that struggled last season, Trev, didn't get the results that he wanted in the Aston Martin, stuck with it for this season, because he's very much a fan of that Aston Martin, so he stuck with it for this season and was convinced that he was going to do better and determined to do better, and so far he is doing that with a third place in class.
Certainly is. He is looking very, very good at the minute. As we continue to go right the way through the field, you can see this is where these guys, the pro guys, Hurley, Holton, of course, with that penalty, and Burrows as well. So these are the pro class, some of the pro class guys who got into a little bit of trouble earlier in the race, as well as this man, C. Fleming as well, Cam Fleming, and you can see there he is just behind Boyd in car number 79. As you can see, Carter here is not too far behind Silver. Has he got that move done? I think he might have got that move done. Carter on Silver. Max Silver there for position as he's running wide. Was that to let his teammate through? No, I beg your pardon. As we take a look now at car number 160 here. There's some battles still going on, whichever way you look. I'm not sure. It says that gap is 1/10 of a second, but it must be a mistake there. As we take a look now, Fleming approaching Boyd, Matty Boyd for Fogarty Motorsport Junior. And look away, Isaac, because this move could be done very, very shortly here. It's less than a second here.
Yeah, it wouldn't be surprising. We've got a pro driver versus an AM driver, and absolutely massive fan of Matt Boyd. He's a great driver and puts a lot of time and effort into learning the tracks and being as fast as possible in that AM class. But Cameron Fleming's just on another level, and he's on an absolute mission after that early contact on this lap 1. You see he just goes around the outside there, basically walking past him at this stage, deep onto the brakes into club. Manages to pull the car up, gets that move done. That's very nice. Absolutely textbook stuff from the BCG driver. And he'll just walk away. He's got 18 seconds now to Andrew Griffin in the Ferrari, so he's the next car up the road. That's a big ask with 14 minutes to go, but you never know. You do never know. 18th place is a few extra points on the board for Cameron Fleming, so he'll want to get as many points as he can, considering he's missing his teammate tonight. Matt Simmons is not racing. A little birdie actually told me, Trev, that he was up to something today with his old Nissan Motorsport car, his GT3 Motorsport car that he used to race over in the UK. I did see a little bit of a thing today that he might be, I don't know if he was driving it, but he definitely was up close and personal with it, so that's very exciting for him.
Absolutely. I might have seen a little bit of that on social media. I'm his #1 fan, of course, Isaac, so if a little birdie told you something, I'm a bit surprised, and I don't know how to feel now, actually. Matt Simmons not being here tonight, of course. It's devastating news for me, as it's a bit of a running joke, isn't it? Love Matty Simmons, but we've still got car wide there in the background. One of the Ferraris just using far too much of the track, and you can see the gap out front now in the pro class between Simon Bishop. We talked about this man running to a very, very specific lap time. He is a professional, which a professional, as I so often get told, Isaac, is somebody who performs a task in a professional manner and gets paid to do so. That's a professional. And that is exactly what Simon Bishop is doing here at the moment. That gap now just a tick under 5 seconds, but he is very much managing the gap now back to Matt Donetti in second.
Yeah, that gap is starting to grow, which I think Matt Donetti is just finding the limit of those tyres and the limit of what he can do with this car. Simon Bishop, these guys have been on very similar pace all weekend long, so it doesn't surprise me that that gap is stabilised. It's back under 5 seconds now, but doesn't surprise me that gap is just starting to stabilise and maybe even grow a little bit as we get further into this race. If a professional is someone that's getting paid for a service for doing a service, I'd love to know what Liam Tame is paying Simon Bishop. That might be a discussion that maybe I can get myself in on. If I can get as fast as Simon Bishop, I might be able to get myself in on that. So I might have to reach out to Mr. Sonoda and ask what he's paying his drivers to make them go as fast as they do, because he's absolutely flying at the moment, Simon Bishop out the front.
Absolutely. He's going to hate that, isn't he? The Yuki Tsunoda reference there. Like I said before, I'll say it before and I'll say it again. He's a little bit taller than Yuki, but he's sitting in P7. He's doing a little bit better than Yuki at the moment. And, well, was it this circuit? Mark Webber, wasn't it, many years ago, not banned for a number 2 driver? I'm not saying he's the number 2 driver, but put it this way, car number 1 is in P1 doing a very, very good job, his teammate. But we can see Nicholson now, car number 6. Ooh, this is interesting. Do not turn off. Riley Nicholson for CP Racing is getting very close here to Liam Tame. So with 11 minutes to go, this is one to keep an eye on here.
Yeah, this is a battle I've been keeping a close eye on throughout this entire second stint for these guys. Riley Nicholson just chipping away. That gap's just going out a little bit again. It ebbs and flows. Riley finds a little bit of time. It's sort of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back scenario at the moment for Riley Nicholson in that Aston Martin. It's I'll have to double check with Will Morgan, our resident Aston Martin expert. He knows a lot of things about a lot of cars in this game, does Will Morgan. A lovely fellow. But I believe it's very easy to overheat the tyres in this car, especially when you're trying to push. So it's a bit of a 2 steps forward, 1 steps back scenario, as I mentioned. Adam Joy sitting in 10th at the moment, just under a second off Adam Gray. I think that was a change of position though, and Adam Gray's finding a burst of speed at the moment in that is now the TTR Southside Mustang. So it was the FR Racing 57 Mustang, but FR Racing have been bought out by TTR Southside. Chris Lashbrook has unfortunately departed the series. He's a very busy man, got a newborn child that he's just had, and busy looking after that and his lovely partner. So he stepped away to do that, and the TTR boys in James Machin, Nick Carter and Anthony Burrows were more than happy to step in and help run an entry for Adam Gray. So 57 TTR Southside Mustang. We're going to get all the compass points at some point. We've just got to get enough drivers in to start a TTR Northside point, and then maybe we'll have to start getting into like the southeast, southwest, those sorts of compass points, Trev.
Absolutely. We'll cover the compass, no doubt about that. And you can see there, car number 57. Beautiful looking car. Let me tell you, what have we got at play here? Let's have a look. We're in, let's just recap, take a breath, and get ready for the final 9 minutes of action. Where has the time gone, Isaac? It's incredible. On your Friday night, we have absolutely flown through not only the qualifying session, but also the race as well. But still plenty to play out. There is Matt Donetti Pro Class, your top 3 in the Pro Class. There is James Machin. He's too far back, isn't he? Unless, of course, something very, very out of the ordinary happens. I reckon James Machin will be on for P3, and that will be your 1, 2, 3 for the Pro Class here this evening. Then Braden Henderson in the Pro-Am class. They're doing very nicely indeed. Followed by this man, Senan Staley for CP Racing in the AMR V8 Vantage. A beautiful car, beautiful sounding car as well. And what about this man, Mr. Hammond, in another one of those Ford Mustangs? he is going to win in his class, but we talked about he's very quick, isn't he, for the AM class. And then it is Liam Tame, who's going to finish P4 in his class as well. And how have you seen his race? Will he be happy with this result here? We can see that gap back to Riley Nicholson. He's managing that gap, 2.1 seconds. And that's not a bad result at the end of the day for BCG1 with Simon Bishop and Liam Tame. And that will get them right in the mix in the Manufacturers' Championship after round 3.
Yeah, it definitely will. This has been a really good drive from him. He qualified down the bottom half of that the bottom half of the top 20. So he was down the order in this race. Got a bit of a free kick due to the incident earlier on lap 1, but they only put him 11th, so he's found 4 more spots in this race, or 5 more spots really in this race, to get himself up into 7th place. So this is a really nice haul of points for the BCG2 boys. They will be right in the mix now, I would think, after that drive-through for Aiden Holton, right in the mix for a potentially maybe even leading this team's championship. Sorry, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm trying to do the maths and the numbers in my head just to see what we're potentially looking at on the other side of this. We will see a change at the top of the order. Matt Zanetti and Simon Bishop will stay 1 and 2. Matt Zanetti should hold on to the lead of the Drivers' Championship as we leave Silverstone, but there will be a 3rd place shift. So someone else will be found in 3rd place. It's currently Matt Zanetti, Nick Carter, then Simon Bishop. It's going to be Matt Zanetti, Simon Bishop, and then I would suggest most likely the next candidate will be James Machen. So how they sit at the moment, 1, 2, and 3, should be how they sit leaving this round today in the overall pro standings. And just a shout out, I want to give a big shout out to Wayne Tanner in 13th place. We've discussed how James Hammonds is technically the leader of the AM class. He's not really an AM driver. He just, because he's reserve, he gets assigned the AM class in the game. Wayne Tanner is actually the leader of the AM class, and he's sitting 13th at the moment. The next closest AM driver is 20th. So this is massive for Wayne Tanner. He's done a couple races here and there in the AGT series. This is his first proper race in quite a while, and what a welcome back for him. And I just want to point out, Trev, he's got the number 97 on of the great Shane Van Gisbergen, so he's picked a really fast number to go along with it.
Absolutely, the SVG number, and car number 97 doing very nicely indeed. That is an incredible effort. You've absolutely hit the nail on the head, because when you look at those gaps, and you think Boyd down there and Stewart as well, and it's an incredible effort. He's really been fighting, hasn't he, in a completely different class here this evening, if you pardon the pun. But he's managed to keep it ahead of a few big names as well, hasn't he, in this championship? So that is a great effort from the young man Tanner here. But we are counting down. Oh boy, less than 5 minutes to go in this race. Hammond there, as you can see, the man who's not AM class, but is AM class, but he's a lot quicker than the AM class. We know that, 1.4 behind Staley. Then Liam Tame, you can see Riley Nicholson there as well. But we might recap for right at the back of the field. Well, that's an interesting battle. I don't believe that's for position. Ooh, Piper there around the outside. Oh boy, we don't see that move completed there too often, but he's managed to get it done. I don't believe that is for position today, as you can see on that occasion. Clayton Twining, car number 160 for Victory Motorsport. They were 12th, weren't they, in Season 1 in the Mercedes AMG GT3 Evo. And there's something about this livery, and you're only in your 20s, so you'd be too young to remember the Jordan liveries back in the late 90s. But if we're giving away awards for these liveries, Isaac, that is an absolute ripper, that one on the Mercedes car.
Well, it looks very lovely. I have gone back and well versed myself in the world of the late 90s Formula 1, so I'm very familiar with the Jordan livery. And obviously, we love, everyone here loves the late, great Eddie Jordan, and But it's a lovely looking livery. It looks very mean. It looks like I also liken it to an alligator or a crocodile, and the sound that this car has, this Mercedes has, it just makes it sound like a crocodile or like an alligator, some sort of reptile in that sense. It's mean, it's nasty, it's angry, and you sort of start to run away when you see it coming.
Absolutely, and steer clear of car number 160, that's for sure. That is a beautiful looking car. As let's have a look here. Staley now just 1 second behind Hammond. Well, this could be interesting. Keep an eye out for this one towards the end of this race. Are we going to see a change of position? Of course, we've got another good sign, I guess, as you mentioned, 3 classes across that top 13 down to Tanner. But we can see Machen there slotting in to third. Braden Henderson. Hammond there as well. We'll continue through the order. Where are some of the closer battles happening here? We've got DeWitt all over the back of Boyd here at the moment, so this is an interesting one. Stewart involved there as well in car number 95.
Yeah, there's a bit of front end damage on that of DeWitt, so there's been contact somewhere with something. I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but there is a bit of a battle going on here between Boyd, DeWitt and Stewart for the top 20, that last spot in the top 20, but DeWitt has dropped off now, so I'd say there's been some contact and he's struggling with damage on that front end. I'm keeping a close eye on Aiden Holton. That gap is currently 4 seconds to Wayne Tanner, but he's on a mission, Aiden Holton, so we'll just keep a close eye on that as the race goes on to see if that shrinks down more as we get close to the end of this race. Matt Donetti has also closed up the gap to Simon Bishop, not by a whole heap, but it's now under 3 seconds. It was over 4 seconds just a couple laps ago, but it might be too little. I think it will be too little too late here for Matt Donetti. He's pushing at the end, but it's just, I don't think it's going to be enough to make any inroads with 1 minute and 20 to go. When they cross the line this time, Trevor, it will be the final lap of the race. So here comes Simon Bishop to start his final tour of Silverstone.
Okay, the leader is on the
Go
final lap now. Give it to him
right
now.
on cue from race control. Leader is on the final lap, and barring any sort of extremely disastrous event, a disconnection, commentator's curse, that's right, we'll keep an eye on this man, I think, and I'm sure he will be safely across the line. Was it Lewis Hamilton in that 2020 race? Was it at the 70th anniversary Grand Prix? Do you remember his tyre went late in the race and Max Verstappen couldn't quite catch up to him? He finished the race on 3 wheels. But this man, through Stowe he goes. 3.1 is the gap. Matt Donetti will quickly recap here as we are on the final lap of this race. James Machen in P3. Then Henderson leading the way in the Pro-Am class. Very nicely done for him as well with Hammond in the Am class. We're going to call him Am class for now. Then Sen and Staley further back there. But it's going to be all about Simon Bishop. He's getting close. He's getting very close indeed. 3, 2, 1, 0. And he is going to see this car over the line. It's going to be victory for BCG1, victory for Simon Bishop in the BMW M4. And, well, the reigning champion, of course, for Season 1, Round 3, the Silverstone Clash is going to be all about this man as he comes through the final couple of corners. For the final time here this evening, he comes through Brooklands, through Luffield, just Woodcote to go, onto the start-finish straight. Simon Bishop gets it done and wins this race, the Silverstone Clash Round 3 of this Adrenaline GT ACC Season number 2. And then it's Matt Donetti across the line. First and second in your Pro class here this evening, and Machen now approaching the line as well, Isaac. It's a solid P3 for this man, and also solid points for TTR Westside in the Manufacturers Championship to keep them in touch.
Yeah, this is what they needed. They needed, if one car was down, they needed the podium result. As you can see, the flag man there at the final start-finish line doesn't know where to wave the blue or the checkered flag. He's switching between the two of them. This is a great result from Braden Henderson. Pro-Am class winner, 4th overall. James Hammond, on his return to AGT, comes home in 5th place as the reserve for TTR Eastside. And Shannon Staley is going to come home in 6th spot, and 2nd in the Pro-Am class. Riley Nicholson will come home 3rd. Liam Tame in 7th place, which is a great result. Riley Nicholson 3rd in the Pro-Am class. Adam Gray 9th overall. Adam Joy, his first top 10 result of the season. A brilliant drive from him. Les Sandwith, a really strong result as well. 11th place in this race, with Bob Norley not too far behind. So the Team XV boys, a great result for them, 11th and 12th in this race. Wayne Tanner, though, is going to finish 13th in this race, 1st in the AM class, and that is a brilliant result for him to finish in that position.
Absolutely. We see the drivers coming across the line. Here are some of the pro drivers, of course, who got into some trouble early. There's Hurley into the pits. Here comes Fleming, a case of what really could have been or should have been, but that's what motorsport is about sometimes. And Cameron Fleming missing his teammate here this evening. It might have been a good evening for BCG1, not so good for BCG2, as we see Cam Fleming coming across the line. And what an evening of motorsport we've seen. 30 laps in the end. It was Simon Bishop getting it done tonight, Isaac, and a perfect result for BCG1 here for round 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Simon Bishop showing why he's the reigning champion. Struggled at Misano, wasn't able to quite stay in touch with those lead 2 drivers, and Matt Donetti just in a class of his own. But Simon Bishop, he's been in a class of his own tonight, showing again why he's the reigning champion, and putting everyone on notice that I may have been off my game in round 1. But that, yeah, everybody gets one, and you've all had it. So now I'm back, and I'm going to be gunning for that title. So that'll close things up in the Drivers' Championship, which is absolutely brilliant. We love to see a close championship, but that is a great result. Cameron Fleming, we'll just make note, he doesn't say he's finished. The timer ran out just before he was able to cross the line. So that does class him as technically not finishing the race, but he did come home in 19th place. So not to worry. We'll see drivers starting to disconnect now. There's a 5-minute practice session at the end of this, just to give drivers time to jump out of the server before it resets. So what a lovely evening of racing, Trevor. That was absolutely brilliant. No notes.
Absolutely nothing further to add. I can tell you what, a terrific night of racing, and boy, what a incredible night we have seen for round 3 of this championship. The Silverstone Clash is done and dusted in this Adrenaline GT ACC season. But, well, it gets better and better, because in a couple of weeks' time, it is time for the King of the Ring on Friday, the 6th of June. And, Isaac, that's going to be absolutely fantastic. 2 10-minute qualifying sessions, followed by 2 30-minute races. So looking forward to that in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we haven't seen the Super Sprint format in action yet. So hopefully this time out, we'll get to see the Super Sprint run. And I'm very excited for this race. I love the Red Bull Ring. It's a brilliant circuit. One of my favorites. I say that about every circuit, but I genuinely mean it. I am absolutely in love with this track, and we've never been here before for AGT, not in any category at all. So I'm very excited to see what our drivers can do. This is a complete unknown for our drivers in terms of the machinery that we run and the balance of power. They may have been here before in other categories, but we've never been here before for AGT. So this is the first, and I'm very excited.
Absolutely, and looking further afield, the American Grand Prix, Sunday, the 22nd of June, knockout qualifying. So keep an eye out for that one, and a 3-hour race. Pit stop also required for that as we head into the TrackSpotTV Challenge. That's round 6 of this season, Friday the 11th of July. 15 minutes of quali, 30 and 60-minute races for that one. Round 7 is the community vote, of course, Friday 25th of July. Similar format to this evening. Round 8, of course, the Belgium Grand Prix from the one, the only Spa-Francorchamps. That is a Sunday race, 10th of August. Mark that one down in your diaries. Knockout qualifying once again followed by a 4-hour race, the American Super Sprint. That will be on the 15th of August, another sprint format. As you can see, all the details on your screen. And then the grand finale on Friday, the 29th of August. And that will be a 15-minute qualifying session, 30-minute and 60-minute races for that one. But boy, oh boy, if tonight's any indication, and what we saw as well, the Italian job in round one, we've got some exciting racing still to play out in the remaining rounds of this season.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely spectacular. Keep in mind we also have to fit round 2 back in there as well on the 4th of July. So that'll be between the American Grand Prix and the TrackSpotTV Challenge. So still 8 rounds of racing to go. Plenty of track time for these drivers to make a statement and take some opportunities. Plenty of incidents still yet to happen as well. There's going to be a lot of fallout for tonight, I'm sure. Drivers will be very frustrated up and down the field with some of the contact that occurred throughout that race, I have no doubt, and the stewards will look at that very closely. But all in all, I think it's been a very positive night of racing, some great results from some great stories coming out of this, and something we can carry into the next round as we head to the Austrian countryside.
It's going to be fantastic. The hills will be alive. We've always got to say that, don't we, with the sound of music, heading it to the Red Bull Ring. But thank you, Isaac. Round 3, that is a wrap of round 3 of this championship, mate. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time at the Red Bull Ring.
Sounds great. I'll see you all then. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. Thank you to everybody out there watching, of course, on your Friday night. I've been your host, Trevor Byers. All of this brought to you, of course, by TrackSpotTV. It's time for a revolution in sim racing. All the Ws.TrackSpot.tv. And you might even be interested in joining the team if you've got a passion, of course, for sim racing and a flair for delivering engaging commentary and broadcasting. We'd love to hear from you if you want to get involved with TrackSpotTV. But that's all we have time for here, ladies and gentlemen, this evening. It's been a pleasure to bring you round 3 of this Adrenaline GT ACC Season 2, round 3 of the championship. Be kind to one another, and we'll see you next time around at the Red Bull Ring. But for now, it's goodbye. See you next time.
Been trying to change what I've been trying to say. Words don't come straight from my head to my mouth. It's such a shame that it fell out of place. Was never me that was bringing you down. Why we always looking for more? Why we always looking for more? Why we always looking for more? I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted.